Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. In this video, I'm going to be planting an Annabelle Hydrangea. This is absolutely one of my favorites, and I think one of most people's favorites when they see them in flower. They get these big, gigantic clusters of white flowers, about 12 inches around. These are much, much easier to grow than many other hydrangeas. If you have a spot that's half a day sun, half a day shade, it's kind of ideal for them. They bloom on new growth. So these can, in the late winter, early spring, be cut way, way back. They can recover to 4 or 5 feet every year and then put on this big, big show in early to mid and late summer. Just a fantastically easy plant and super, super showy. It's a it'll stop your neighbors if you put a cluster of these in. I'm just planting one over here in my white garden. It wouldn't be a white garden, I don't think, without an Annabelle Hydrangea in it. Okay, if I was going to rank hydrangeas by easiest to grow, I would definitely say Hydrangea paniculatas, like that white wedding one, and you've seen me put in to my yard. Super, super, super easy. You put those in the sun, leave them alone. Annabelle is a close second. Part shade spot, prune it in the late winter, give it a slow release fertilizer, and then leave it alone. It puts on a big old show without you doing very much. It has very sturdy stems, which is important with hydrangeas. It's important with anything that puts on large clusters of flowers, because Annabelle does a great job of holding them up big and tall, whereas a lot of other plants that get giant clusters of flowers like that tend to flop over. Again, there's just not very much to even think about on this plant. I'm putting it in an area that's going to get tons of morning sun. Sometime around 12 or 1, it's going to go in the shade. I'm not going to cover anything that wasn't covered when I planted it. This was a plant that was bare root dug early last winter and was only about 6 inches tall. And you can see how much growth it can put on in a single season. I don't think I'm going to get any flowers out of this young plant this year. I've kept it for a few weeks hoping that I'd see some flower buds on it, but it just doesn't look like it is going to happen on this one this year, but it'll be absolutely loaded with them next year. It has so much new growth on it, and I'm summer planting it, that I'm going to come in here and take off the newest growth right off the top here. That's what's really using the most water. I'll water it in really, really well, and then I'll let it dry out between waterings. I totally expect it to go through a little bit of heat stress, maybe have a few yellow leaves down near the base that will come off of it. But other than that, I'm just not worried about it. Annabelle hydrangeas are super, super easy in comparison to big leaf hydrangeas like this All Summer Beauty and some others that I have in my yard, and much easier than lots and lots of other flowering plants. And it's so long bloomed. It's one of my, one big thing with summer flowering plants. Lots and lots of them bloom for a long time. The ones that are tough enough to bloom during the summer tend to put on a show for an extended period, where the early spring flowering things tend to be really quick hits, and not a lot after that. So I'll show it to you after I get it in the ground. I got a ladybug that's joined me for this. So Annabelle hydrangeas are hardy in zones 4 to 9, so they cover a vast area. So this thing, again, it's super low maintenance, has once a year maintenance on it. You prune it back some in the late winter before it leafs out, and they're going to grow 2.5 feet before they bloom. So if you want it to bloom around 5 feet tall, I would cut it down to somewhere around 2.5 to 3 feet and fertilize it with a slow release fertilizer at the same time. Again, super easy. Put it in the part shade, and where it gets somewhere around 6 hours of direct sun. And I put this in. It's mulched with hardwood mulch. Nothing is up on the stems. I raised it up just a little bit so it doesn't stay too wet. I'm going to drown it right now, and then I'm going to let it dry out between waterings. I am going to go ahead and tip prune it, like I said, and get rid of this new growth. Otherwise, it's definitely going to heat stress it. If I had any chance of getting blooms this year, I'm ending that by cutting these the tips off these branches. But I really am concerned that wilting and heat stress and all those things are going to delay it from being a nice big shrub next year, and a vigorous shrub next year. That's more what I'm concerned about. So thank you very much for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for future videos.